Everyone laughed at the young lady for renting an ugly, abandoned house. But what happened months later left the landlord speechless. When Ada first saw the house, many people in the neighborhood shook their heads. The building looked tired and forgotten. The paint had faded. The windows were broken. Weeds had grown all around the compound. Some people even whispered, "Why would anyone rent a place like this?" But Ada simply smiled. She quietly paid the rent for 3 years and moved in. To everyone's surprise, something began to change. Week after week, workers came to the house. Carpenters repaired doors. Painters covered the old walls with bright colors. Gardeners planted flowers and trimmed the grass. Little by little, the old house began to shine again. Soon, the once-forgotten building looked like a beautiful paradise. The compound had fresh flowers. The walls were shining. The inside looked modern and comfortable. Neighbors passing by would stop and admire the transformation. Some even said, "Who knew this place could become so beautiful?" But one person was watching everything carefully: the landlord. At first, he said nothing, but as the house began more beautiful, a new thought entered his mind. One afternoon, he came to visit Ada. He stood in the compound, looking around with wide eyes. Then he cleared his throat and said, "Ada, I want you to start preparing to leave this house." Ada looked surprised. "Leave? But my rent has not finished. I still have years remaining." The landlord folded his arms. "My son is getting married soon. He will move into this house with his wife." Ada was shocked. "But sir, I paid for 3 years." Just then, a car drove into the compound. A young man stepped out confidently. It was the landlord's son. He walked toward Ada and said firmly, "Lady, you need to start packing. This house will be my wedding gift to my wife." Ada felt a deep wave of anger rising inside her, but she stayed calm. "I am not leaving," she replied quietly. "If there is a problem, we can settle it in court." The landlord laughed and brought out a document. "Here is the agreement you signed." Ada took the paper and began to read carefully. At first, her heart sank. The paper did not say anything about renovations. It only confirmed that she rented the house. She almost lost hope. But suddenly, her eyes stopped at one small line. Her heart jumped. The paper clearly said, "Any property placed in the house by the tenant that does not belong to the landlord may be removed by the tenant when leaving the house." And the most important part, the landlord had signed it. Ada slowly folded the paper. A small smile appeared on her face. "All right," she said calmly. "I will leave." The landlord and his son smiled proudly. But what Ada did next, no one in the neighborhood expected it. The next morning, several trucks arrived at the house. Workers entered the compound and they began removing everything. The beautiful lights, the new doors, the flower decorations, the fancy wall panels, the shining fittings. Piece by piece, the beautiful house slowly returned to how it looked before. By evening, Ada locked the gate for the last time and quietly left. But the landlord and his son had no idea what had happened inside. They were too busy planning the wedding. The next day, the son proudly brought his new bride to the house. Guests gathered around the compound. Smiling, the son said proudly, "My wife, wait until you see the beautiful home I prepared for you." The father nodded proudly. "My son, open the door and show everyone." The son stepped forward, turned the key, and opened the door. The moment the door opened, everyone froze. Then suddenly, people began screaming in surprise. To be continued. Please like, share, comment, and follow for more stories. Thanks for watching.